Design is very often unseen, unappreciated. If something is badly designed, we'll have a look at a few deliberately badly designed objects in a moment. It makes it very difficult to use, and it can also just look somehow subtly wrong. And I know I speak as an ex-industrial designer, but at the same time, we're surrounded by good design so much that it's hard to realize how much easier it does make life. A classic series of drawings, how the customer explained it, how the project leader understood it, how the analyst designed it, and so on. I wouldn't say they're typical of a design project, but they illustrate some truths that you do come across with a multi-person design team, particularly how the customer explained it and what they actually wanted. Very often the designer's job and your job as digital modelers and animators will be to interpret what you think the customer actually wants. Not only because they're probably unused to explaining things in terms of images and animations, but also because they may be unaware of technologies that you could use that would be much more appropriate, better for their project than the ones they're talking about. Font matters. Think about fonts. I will be talking about fonts when we come to credits and titles in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, the right kind of font makes a huge difference to the message you convey. Incremental design. Go step by step. So when you're designing a project, particularly an animation, which typically takes a long time and a lot of detail, you don't want to jump immediately into the final stage and kind of work backwards. You want to proceed gradually. This means going from initial verbal descriptions, what's known as the elevator pitch, to a storyboard, sketches, to an animatic, which is a very simple animation, to various versions of your final animation, to final rendering, and then to your editing. And if you leave sufficient headroom in your image sequences, then you can actually do quite a lot, even in the final stage of video editing. Sometimes you want to think outside the box. In a professional context, you probably don't. Bad design? Why doesn't this work? Well, you suddenly realize that, oh, okay, well, the handles to lift a heavy pot should probably be on the opposite sides. Not something you really think about, but once you see something where it's deliberately wrong, you realize that's how it should be. Spoons, how do you use a spoon? Would this work? Placement, how do you get access to a door? Do the steps and the door matter, apart from being obviously the same height? Well, yeah, there are significant elements there as well. So many of these things make you think about the value of design. Why are things made the way they are? And this is also why you should do research before you design something. Before you're going to include something in your animation, do a little background research, get some photographs, gather some photographs, or take some photographs of the object in use and in reality, and just make sure you don't make a silly mistake, because otherwise you're going to have to do the whole thing all over again. And if it's a client project, that means you eat that extra cost. I'll send these out. They're interesting renderings. Okay, good design. Good design isn't necessarily consciously designed. Look around for items like these. This guy collects examples of good classic design. These are timeless items in many cases, some of them literally thousands of years old, certainly hundreds of years old, because they just work. And this is where design is being carried out by many anonymous people, gradually improving something over generations, rather than calling in an expensive design firm to try to do it in 6 months. So classic tools. Again, classic anonymous type tools, some of them timeless. some of them quite modern. I don't believe this is more than 70, 80 years old. I mean the design, not that particular item.